There were also some of you that had difficulties with the problems, specifically problem 3.11 and 4.4, which were taken from the textbook. All right, so I'm going to take a few minutes. I've got some slides here that show the correct answers for these problems that I thought would help those of you that had some issues with getting the correct calculated values. Now on problem 3.11 on page 64, it basically gave you some income values and some taxes associated with those incomes, and it wanted you to calculate the tax rate for each of those and also the marginal tax rate. And then it also, one of the questions on there had you tell me whether this was a progressive tax system, a regressive tax system, or proportional. Okay, so basically in this table here that I'm showing you, it shows what calculations you should have made. So to get the tax rate, you would just take the taxes over the income, and for that first one, it would be 20%. Just $200 over $1,000, which would be 20%. Then on the second one, it was $350 divided by $2,000 income, which would be 17.5%. And then on the third income, which is $3,000, it was $450 in taxes, so it's just a ratio. You just take $450, which is the taxes, over the income, $3,000, and that gives you a 15% tax rate. Now, looking at this tax rate, as we move from $1,000 of income to $2,000 to $3,000, we can see that our tax rates are going down as our income increases, which means that it's a regressive tax, okay? If the tax rates went up as we increased in income, that would be a progressive tax. If the tax rates were all the same, that would be proportional or a flat tax, okay? Now, another thing it wanted you to do on this particular problem was calculate the marginal tax rate. Remember, marginal values are basically the change in values as we move from one, in this case, one income to another. So, on the very first one, the marginal tax rate is going to be the same as the regular tax rate, the average tax rate, because we're moving from basically 0 to 1,000. So it would just be $200 minus 0, which is our taxes before, over 1,000, which is our income now, minus what it was before, which was 0. So that on that first one, the marginal tax rate is going to be the same as your average tax rate. Okay. Now on the second one, it's going to be different. So again, all you do is you take what your tax rate is now minus what it was before. So in other words, 350 minus 200, which is 150, over $2,000 income minus what it was before, which was 1,000. So it's 150 over 1,000, which is 15%. And then on this last one, it will be, again, what our taxes are now, 450 minus what they were with the previous income. So it would be 450 minus 350, which is $100, over $3,000 income now minus the $2,000 before. So it's $100 over $1,000, which is 10%. Okay, so that's how that's calculated. A lot of you got that correct, but you didn't show your answers. Okay, or you didn't show your calculations. I'm sorry. And on the instructions for the assignment, it clearly stated that you need to show your calculations. So even if you got all the answers correct, if you didn't show your calculations, I did count some points off for that. So in the future, when it says to show your calculations, make sure that you actually show your calculations on your assignment. Okay? I want to make sure that you understand how to actually calculate these various formulas and calculations that we do during the course of the semester. If you just give me the final answer, then I'm not really sure whether you did it correctly or not. You may have gotten the correct answer, but you may have gone about it in the wrong way. So I need to make sure by looking at your calculations that you're actually using the right method to get the correct answer. Okay? All right. If you have any questions about that, just let me know. And then on the other problem, this is the solution to problem 4.4 on page 84. Now, most of you got this correct. And on this one, some of you showed your calculations, some of you didn't. On this one, because it was very, very simple math, it was just subtracting numbers, very, single-digit numbers, and getting a value. I didn't count points off on this particular one if you didn't show your calculations, because a lot of you could probably do it in your head. But I did have that stipulated on the assignment, but on this one I kind of was a little bit more flexible on it if you didn't show your calculations, simply because they were very, very simple calculations. All right, so on this one, what it wanted you to do, it gave you a graph showing a demand curve and a supply curve, and it basically at various prices, it wanted you to tell me whether there's a shortage or a surplus in the market and how big it is. Okay, so for the first one, it said if the price is $8, is there a shortage or a surplus, and how big is it? Well, if the price is $8, which is right here, the quantity demanded is 2, and the quantity supplied is 8. So you would take 8 minus 2, which is 6, and since quantity supplied is, in this case, greater than quantity demanded, we will have a surplus of 6. Okay? Now, on the second one, it said if the price is $6, basically give us the same information. So, in other words, is there a shortage or a surplus, and how big is it? So, on that one, the quantity demanded would be 4. Quantity supplied is 6 at a $6 price here. And then if you take 6 minus 4, that's 2. So there's a surplus of 2 if the price is $6. Then the third part of this problem asked you if the price is $5. Is there a shortage or a surplus, and how big is it? Well, in this case, at a price of $5, that is actually the equilibrium point. So there is no surplus or shortage, and the way you would calculate that is the price. The quantity demanded and quantity supplied are both 5, and so you would take 5 minus 5, which would be 0. So that means there is no surplus or shortage. That is what we call the equilibrium point in economics. Okay? All right. And then the D portion, or D part of that question, asked you if the price is $4, is there a shortage or a surplus, and how big is it? Well, at a price of $4 right here, it would be quantity demanded is 6, quantity supplied is 4. So take 6 minus 4 is 2. Now, in this case, though, the quantity demanded is greater than the quantity supplied. So we know we have a shortage, and the shortage is equal to 2, which again is calculated by just taking 6 minus 4, which is 2. All right, and then the last part of the question, part E, asked you if the price is $3, what's the shortage or surplus? All right, well, in this case, at a price of $3 down here, the quantity demanded is 7, and the quantity supplied is 3. So if you take 7 minus 3, that would give you 4, and that's the shortage. So there is a shortage because quantity demanded, in this case, is greater than quantity supplied. So that's basically how you would calculate all of those items for that problem 4.4 in the textbook. All right?